Now, colonialism was brutal and unjust, but I'm not here to apologise. Well, that's pretty much the message from the French President François Hollande, who's in Algeria this week. Hollande wants to turn the page on a difficult history with Algiers, 50 years after a bloody war of independence. Well, there's a lot at stake this week. Beefing up trade with oil-rich Algeria could give a much-needed boost to the French economy. And already China is eating into French market share. Well, tonight I'll be asking if atoning for the sins of the past will help France in the future. Let's introduce you to tonight's guest. Here on my right, Pierre Connaissart is a so-called Pied Noir. He was born in Algeria and came to France just after independence, I believe.
Hello.
Good to have you with us. He's also worked under several French presidents, including François Mitterrand and Jacques Chirac. Good to have you with us. We're also with me here in the studio is Nadir Dondoun. He's a Paris-based journalist and the author of several books, including Open Letter to the Son of an Immigrant. This was written, I understand, as a reaction to a speech made by the former president Nicolas Sarkozy.
Yes, that was when he said once, France, you love him or you leave it. And he said like what Jean-Marie Le Pen, the president of the National Front, said a while ago. So I just did want to tell him that we are more French than you because of the story we share with French as an Algerian background. Okay.
Also with us tonight, over in Algiers, Malik Sarai. He's a former economic advisor to the current president, Bouteflika. Good to have you with us as well. Now, before we go on, let's take a quick listen to President Hollande speaking a little earlier today about history.
Algeria, for 132 years, was subject to a profoundly unjust and brutal system. It was colonialism. And I recognize here the suffering that colonialism inflicted on the Algerian people.
Pierre Connaissart, I'll start with you if I may. Hollande said this was appalling, it was unjust, France committed all sorts of crimes, but he won't actually issue an apology. Why doesn't he do that if the end is more business for France?
Well, two questions. The first point is that there is a fashion today, to apologize. I mean, a lot of country has to apologize for the past, for history, etc. And regarding the French history, yes, Hollande was there to recognize but not apologize. Well, he should have done. That's not really a point. I mean. But, the question is more internal political affairs, because a lot of Pieds Noirs are still living in France, because we have the Harkis problem, because we have a lot of people,
The Harkis were the Algerians who fought on the side of the French.
Yes, regarding whom, the French has been really unfair. So I think that it's quite difficult, politically speaking, to apologize.
Nadir Dondoun, what do you think about Hollande's comments? Do you think he went far enough today?
I don't think at all. It was better than what Sarkozy said when he went there a few years ago, but everybody could be better than Sarkozy, even me, I could do better than him, as he was...
Relations were pretty frosty.
It was one of the worst presidents that we had in France. I think he didn't went as far as we wish, because I would love him to say, frankly, it was a responsibility, of the France as a state. And he didn't say that.
Malik Sarai in Algiers, perhaps you'd like to join us now. Is it a case of the more France atones for the past and the more they admit what happened, the more they get in the way of trade deals?
Well, I think Mr. François Hollande recognized definitely the crime have been done by French army and French occupation without saying pardon, without saying sorry. Now, because he's, I faced to the right side French party and also few Pieds Noirs who still looking for or thinking about Algérie Française. Then the difficulty is in France, is not with Algeria, in fact. But definitely he put the good, build, how to build the new relation with recognition about this, what's happening in the history. That's first point, is positive. Because today, this afternoon, I have been with the young people and also with old people. The young people say, okay, we go ahead with France, we build together our new Algeria. But the old people who were suffering, during the war or before, they said no. He must say pardon. Then, but now you know that Algeria is a young country and the population is very young.
But he hasn't said pardon, has he?
No. He didn't say pardon, but he said, well, I recognize the crime of French occupation and the French army. He said definitely, because I believe that the difficulty is not, once again, I repeat, is not coming from Algerian side, but is coming from French side, according to what is going on with the UMP and the other, party on the right side. However, France has definitely recognized that we have interest together, and we must build our new relation basically with this recognition.
All right.
About what
Let's take it from there.
We want to go far away.
We want to go forward. Let's take it from there. Pierre
Yes.
Conessa, what do you make of that? This is more about French domestic politics than it is about what's going on.
Yes,
in
about
Algeria.
apologize. Yes, but well, you know, as France is asking Turkey to make apologize for the Armenian genocide, it is quite obliged, to say also apologize for the Algerian war. Well, but the point for me is what's the importance regarding the Algerian opinion? This apologize. 60% of the population was born after the independence war, which means that if the political leaders in Algeria get this apologize, it's a kind of political mandate for them because they get their legitimacy from the independence war. They are still at the power. The same people is still ruling this country.
The FLN.
62. Bouteflika in the power is exactly as Kennedy was still president of United States. Mm-hmm. You understand what I mean? So the political process in Algeria is completely blocked. So they are very attached to this apologize because, it's a way for the young people to say to young people to Algeria, we were the Mujahideen of the independence. But the question of the day for Algeria is not this one.
Let me bring in our fourth guest tonight, Alexandre Kateb. You're a professor at the Sciences Po University here in Paris. You've written a book called The New World Powers about the BRIC countries and how they're important to the world economy. Algeria, an oil-rich state, the biggest francophone state in the world, is very important in terms of trade, isn't it, for France and for Europe?
Of course, it's one of the most important partners of France in this region of the world, and globally speaking, because of these historical ties that have been discussed, and because the Algerian oil and gas is very important for Europe. Europe imports 1/3 of its energy needs from Algeria. Therefore, it cannot neglect its relation with this country.
Do you think that the issue of apologising and admitting what happened in the past is important in terms of trade, or do you think the two are disconnected?
Well, I think there is sufficient maturity now among the ruling figures in France and in Algeria to dissociate between these two issues. The repentance or the recognition of colonization crimes is indeed a very important issue. But in the same time, it has not prevented French businesses from doing business with Algeria, because it's a very important country with growing needs, and a country that can pay for its imports of French goods and services.
And France is, of course, Algeria's biggest trading partner. I think we can have a look at some information on trade. Trade between the two countries currently worth about 10 billion euros. There you can see the amount of imports coming to France. But China, just behind. And China is catching up very quickly. Trade between China and Algeria set to be worth around 4 billion euros this year. And there you can see the exports going to the United States and France. They're still in the top four. Malik Sarai, do Algerians favour France when it comes to doing business, or would they prefer to develop ties with China?
Well, Algeria is comparing the political attitude between the China government and the French government. The China government, he never interfered in our political relation or political position toward all our neighbors. But France government always, he's coming in and that it disobliged the Algerian government. But however, Algeria is still the number one of importing from France in Africa and Arab world, but the number 4 in terms of export. So it's still very important. But also, since we are now building a kind of, export of gas within insurance that Algeria is giving a kind of insurance to France to be a very strong partner. I think all of us, we must think about it. We must think about this new relation. However, now Algeria is changing a little bit its attitude because France is coming late. Mr. Hollande came late. He's come after the Chinese political, after the Korean, the Italian, particularly the Italian. They are very strong in Algeria. The Spanish people, even the German and the English people, we didn't understand sometimes why French operators are playing a role in terms of politics and mixing politics with the business. We would like to see our French operator doing only marketing with us and trying to give us more technology and trying to take into account our need of training, high education. The main solution now, how to strengthen the relation between Algeria and France, is first of all how France to play a good role, a very important role to rebuild the industry in Algeria, or also to help thousands and thousands of students to take part of the
French. You do have a major problem.
This is the main important point is the industry and training.
Right, because as you say, Malik Sarai, you are a very young country, and you have an awful lot of young people who are unemployed. I mean, something like 30% of young people participate in the Algerian economy.
No, sorry, this is not correct.
You have huge oil wealth. You have a budget surplus.
I will give you the no. This is not correct because I'm an expert with the World Bank and is also advisor with the United Nations.
The World Bank says your policies are unsustainable.
Excuse me. The exact statistics, there are 10.3% of unemployment, but inside the 10%, there are 30% of girls educated in employment and 20% of boys educated. But the global is less than 11%. That's why we need, in fact, France to play a role how to relaunch our industry, because actually 48% of our industry is not working. And we need really these French operators to come with us, to sit down and to give us experts and to train our homologue experts.
Okay.
Because this is the better way. This is also the better way to keep Algeria as the second, francophone country after France, and because we are now 37 million.
Let us pick up on some of the points, Malik Sarai.
Yes.
If I could come to you, Nadia Dondoun, what do you think about what you're hearing there? I mean, there's a reason, isn't there? So many young people in Algeria want to come to France. I mean, they're crying out for visas, aren't they?
They are. I cannot really say why, because I was born in France and I live in France. So I cannot really talk about on behalf of these people. But the thing that I know and the thing that I hear, that's true that I meet lots of people who are coming from my parents' country, who are coming here to find some job. It's the same thing when they're coming from Africa. So lots of people are very, very poor there, and they are not finding jobs and everything. But you can say the same thing for French people. I have lots of French people who are like me, who are a bit dark, and they leave France because they don't find job here. So, but I have to say that when I go to my parents' country, I meet lots of young people who are telling me that they are sick of being there and they want to find a better life. So that's true. Like he said, it's a young country. It's 50 years. France has built itself for centuries, same as England. England, France, and lots of countries has been building themselves for centuries. So we need to be patient, and we need to keep hope.
Pierre Conessa, who needs the other more? Is it France or Algeria when it comes to the economy? Because the French economy is in pretty dire straits at the moment, and as we've just heard, Algeria has a serious unemployment problem.
Well, I would say the both are quite interested in a partnership, but I think that the main problem, to address the question you were asking to my friend, is that Algerian economy is an oil economy, which means that a lot of subsidies are used, to pay daily goods, etc., which means that the local production is sometimes challenged by subsidies goods, coming from abroad, which means that if you want to change all that point of economy, I mean, you have to fight against bribery and corruption. You have to fight against is the main cause of this will of going abroad is what they call in Algeria the ogra, which means the feeling of these rulers who are using this country for the last 50 years exactly as it was theirs, not the people's one, And this feeling of injustice is very important in the youth of Algeria. I do think so. No? What's your feeling about that?
Yes, definitely. I think there is a point here that there is a lot of frustration among the young generations, especially the young people with the training that went to university because they thought they would get some jobs, and at the end they were eventually just holding the walls, as Algerians say. But to solve this problem, it takes a strategy, a recognition of this problem, and a long-term development strategy that for the moment is absent from the Algerian government. There is no long-term development strategy for this country, especially focusing on economic diversification.
Well, the World Bank, the recent World Bank report says that their policies are unsustainable at the moment, where they basically grant young people loans at very low interest rates. It's all funded by oil wealth, almost.
Yes, exactly. The policies are unsustainable. The policy try to manage in the short term this frustration to avoid a kind of revolts or revolutions that were observed in other countries in the wake of the Arab Spring. But at the end, what is really needed is factories, is jobs for trained people and untrained people. And this is something that is missing at the moment. There are some initiatives, not to say that everything is dark, but there is a need really to put more focus on that.
All right, hold that thought. We're going to take just got time for a short break. We will get back to you right after this. Stay tuned. When we come back, we'll have all the latest headlines and the second part of our debate. Lots to say, as you can see. Don't go away.